Welcome to IAS Factor. We are continuing the Ancient India revision for your prelims examination, and now we'll have to continue with the most important content of the day. We have reached the Mahajanapada period. So we have already completed in detail about Buddhism, Jainism. So we'll quickly move on to the Mahajanapada period. And exactly the picture, as you can see, previously we saw this kind of a modernity and cosmopolitan outlook only during the the Indus Valley civilization. And after that, people again became semi-pastoral nomads and they slowly started to live. But when you look at the art and architecture, in Vedic and later Vedic period, you don't see any architectural things because most of the things are destroyed. But after some time, the rise of palaces, the rise of huge kingdoms can only be seen in the Mahajanapada period. So this is also an intern where you can see big cities coming up, and that is why you should remember the discovery of iron, and all those are very, very important aspects regarding that. Okay, so Mahajanapada period, as usual, we'll learn the content, we'll get an idea about it, and we'll just get the most important facts. Okay, so with me, Arjun R Shankar, let's move on to the important session. So Mahajanapada, as you can see the big pictures, the big city being created. So let me give you a brief idea. I've already given you the ideas. Go back to the Vedic period and later Vedic period. Imagine that these are small villages. I try to give this. These are small villages, and every villages might have had a village head or a king-like person. Imagine there are different people, there are different type of villages existing like this. So what happened is there are different villages like this, and after some time, imagine the most powerful person in this village is this person. This is the most powerful village. The village fights and capture all other villages, and it forms a single entity. That means he has created a single entity out of this. So he has captured everything and he created a single entity, and this this became a small kingdom like things. And imagine the same happened with here, and this became B, and the same happened with here and became C, and later on it became. So these are what you call as the Mahajanapadas. Previously they were small, then they became a bit more bigger Janapada, and now they are a Mahajanapadas. Like this, there are different almost 16 major Janapadas which we'll have to learn. So there are 16 main kingdoms, and we cannot for a general studies UPSC perspective, it is very difficult to go and learn the complete names. But still, what I usually tell is the recollection rate. You need to recollect that statement very well. That is it. So imagine that there is another big village, and this village is called, and this Janapada later became a Mahajanapada. By this village has got all these villages, it got together and it became a single great kingdom, and this is Magadha. The most important thing that you need to understand, out of the 16, Magadha was the most strongest. So Magadha is not Maurya. Get this correct. Magadha is not Maurya. Mauryan is an empire which is coming not here, later. Magadha is a place. Obviously the modern Pataliputra, Patna, the Bihar area. So after Mahajanapada, you know what happened? Out of this whole Mahajanapadas, Magadha started to absorb everybody. It started to absorb everybody, and slowly this whole thing became one thing called Magad. So out of the whole Mahajanapadas, Magadha became the most powerful. It captured absorbed most of the Mahajanapadas. So this is the idea. So get this, from the timeline perspective, we start from the prehistoric period, we go to the Indus Valley, we go to the Vedic period, we go to the later Vedic period. Parallelly, we learnt about Jainism, we learnt about Buddhism, and now we are at the Mauryan period or Mahajanapada period. And after some next period is the Mauryan period. Then we have the post-Maurya. Then we have the Guptan period, and then we have the post-Gupta. So almost all of the ancient India is complete in this topic. So this is the timeline. We are at this point in detail. Clear? So I think this point is clear. So only after there are different dynasties in Magadha. And the last we learn about, imagine that there is the Haryanka dynasty, there is the Shishunaga dynasty, and later on the Nanda dynasty, one of the biggest dynasties which fought the Greek powers. And the famous ruler like Mahapadmananda comes here, and the last ruler called Dhanananda is overthrown by great warrior called, along with his friend who was very intelligent. His name is Chandragupta Maurya and his friend's name is Kautilya, Chanakya or Vishnugupta. They founded the Mauryan Empire. So they overthrew the last Nanda ruler. So this is the most important thing. So what we need to do is we need to learn few concepts out of this. This is the idea. I hope you got the idea. Now we'll build some facts for the UPSC. Fair enough, right? I think this is okay, and we'll quickly build some facts. Number one, what is the meaning? Mahajanapada means Maha, and Janapada means foothold of a tribe or people. 16 major kingdoms or republics that existed. So when I say republic, so automatically the state is also important. In political science, we study the state. Who is a state? So initially it was a tribal kingdom. Now it is slowly it is becoming republic. There are oligarchies. So we need to know the political history also starts from here. So later Vedic period and the transition of tribal communities into territorial state. I just drew this picture right here. Described in Anguttara Nikaya. So next time when you see the statements Anguttara Nikaya, it's a Buddhist text, and Jain text which is called as the Bhagavati Sutra. So all these like the Bhagavati Sutra are all important parts of this. And what are the sources we get about this? So no, Anguttara Nikaya is a Buddhist text, Digga Nikaya, Bhagavati Sutra is a Jain text. So next time when you get a match the following for the prelims, Bhagavati Sutra is the Jain text, Anguttara Nikaya, Digga Nikaya is the Buddhist text. And Vedic literature, Puranas, epics, Ramayana, you get details of all these Mahajanapadas. So 16 Mahajanapadas we need to remember. Magadha definitely you'll remember. I'm just trying to give you the names of the Mahajanapadas along with the capital city and the present city. So it is very difficult. You might be able to recollect everything, but even if you don't recollect, that is fine. But match the following, they can ask you. Which of the following is a Mahajanapada? So you need to know. Magadha is obviously, and the capital is Rajagriha, lately Pataliputra. Kosala, it's in the Ayodhya, Shravasti region. The capital is Ayodhya. So Kosala is Ayodhya. And Vatsa, the capital is Kausambi. All these areas are important. Vatsa, Kosala. So get it right. Magadha, Kosala, Vatsa, and Rajagriha, Ayodhya, Kausambis are the city. And Avanti, it's in Madhya Pradesh, and the capital is Ujjain. Ujjain is popular. And the Kuru Vamsh, it's in Delhi, Haryana region. The capital is Hastinapur. Definitely you must have seen all these names in the Mahabharata period. You must have really seen all these names in the Mahabharata period. Avanti, Kuru, Hastinapur, etc. And then something called Panchala. In Mahabharata you have the Panchal Naresh. It's Western UP. The capital is Ahichatra and Kampilya. So two capitals, Ahichatra and Kampilya. They can even give you match the following. Avanti, Ujjain, Kuru, Hastinapur, Panchal, Ahichatra, Kampilya. And then you have Matsya Desha, the Chedi Naresh of Matsya, Jaipur region, Rajasthan, and the Virat Nagar. Even the Virat Nagar is very popular in Mahabharata. There is the Ajñatavas of Pandavas, Virat Nagar, Surasena, Mathura, Chedi, Matsya and Chedi. You must have heard about the Chedi Naresh, and definitely Bundelkhand in Uttar Pradesh. Capital is Shuktimati. And moving on to the Kashi, which is Varanasi, Angadesh. Capital is Champ. You must have remembering about the Angaraj Karn. Mahabharata, there is the depiction of Karna, which is actually the depiction of Angaraj Karn. And Gandhara. Capital is Takshila or Takshashila. In Mahabharata, you must have heard about the Gandhar Naresh Shakuni, who is from Gandhara, the kingdom of Gandhara. And the capital is obviously Takshila. And the Kambhuja. And the capital is Rajpura. Asaka or Asmaka, the capital is Potana. And Videha, the capital is Mithilapuri, Videha. And the last kingdom is Malla, the kingdom of Malla. Capital is Kushinagara and Pava. The Pavapuri or Kushinagara, Buddhist, which place do you think is Buddha attained Mahaparinirvana at which place? Mahavira died at which place? You need to remember that birth, death, the most important places of Buddhism and Jainism, okay? Try to get this. So political system, I told you that is also, you need to understand the state also very clearly. So what is the concept of monarchy? You must have heard about monarchy and republics, etc., oligarchy, etc. Monarchy means ruled by hereditary kings. Centralized authority, power was concentrated in one ruler. Administration was more structured and hierarchical. So definitely there are monarchies. So Magadha, Kosala, Vatsa, Avanti are all kings ruling, kings, hereditary kings. So this is monarchy. And Ganarajya or Sangha. So what is the concept of republic? Republic means the power was shared among multiple leaders or clans. There are aristocratic or oligarchic rule. No single monarch. Decisions were made collectively. Governance was through assembly, sabhas or sangha. Early form of democratic consultation among elite. Vajji was most popular for its federated republic system. So next time when you get a question, the republic example is Vajji, Malla and Kambhoja. So previously we have discussed about the republic now, and previously we have discussed about the monarchy. It's centralized. It's a normal Magad. There is a king, but it was a collective thing. Was Vajji. So remember the initial stating of a democratic system like republic system, all of this can be seen in the Mahajanapada period. Very important. So monarchies had kings, ministers, amatyas, assembly, sabha, samiti. Republics had governing council often chosen from the Kshatriya clans. It's a group of decision making. Taxes collected from peasants, standing armies and fortified cities common in major cities. So you have a standing army, a regular army, and fortified cities. Just like I've showed you the picture, the cities have huge forts which is guarding the entrance. So the fortification is also very, very important here. And economy, look at the economy. Main occupation, iron tools increase productivity. So definitely since the discovery of iron came in, the productivity has always increased. Internal and external trade, use of coins, punch marked coins, emergence of cities like Takshashila, Kausambi, Varanasi are all very, very important, vital cities in this time. Artisan, traders, Shrenis, guild is already discussed. All of this got prominent during the Mahajanapada period. So how do you think the society of Mahajanapada period? You should have an idea. The Varnashrama system continued. So what do you mean by Varnashrama system? The Brahmins, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudras were present. Less rigid compared to later times. Thus just a division. And social mobility was fluid, especially in urban and mercantile. Brahmin and Kshatriya held religious power. All these things you know. Varnashrama means that. So merchants, the Sethis or Shreshtis and artisans and carpenters, smiths, potters gain prominence. So automatically when these groups get prominence, you should remember the importance is guilds. The guilds got real prominence. So they often supported religious and political activities, increasing their activities. So a lot of new groups came in. Women had limited roles in political and religious life. Note, because participation, commerce and crafts, especially in urban areas, suggest some only limited participation of women. And Magadha became the most powerful Mahajanapada. I've already explained that. Why is Magadha the most successful thing? You need to know it also for an exam perspective. If you get an option, you need to eliminate it. One, is the strategic location between Ganga and Son. The location and obviously water, rich in iron ore, forest and fertile land. So you get the resources, you get the forest and you get the land and you get the water. And leaders like Bimbisara, Ajatashatru, Mahapadmananda, strong leaders, the strong emperors are all, the kings are all from this area. They conquered Anga, Kosala and eventually all other, laid the foundation for Mauryan Empire. So finally, the 16 kingdoms, Mahajanapadas like this, everything, most of them was under Magad or Mauryan Empire. When the Mauryan Empire came, everybody became the part of Mauryan Empire. Almost everybody became part of Mauryan Empire. So get this point correctly. And decline of other Mahajanapadas, most of them were absorbed by Magadha. Others fell due to Persian invasion, Alexander, internal conflicts, economic decline, lack of leadership. So out of many reasons, most of the Mahajanapada indirectly or directly declined. And why this period is the use of iron. This period is called as a second urbanization. You know why this is called second urbanization? The first one is obviously Indus Valley. When I started this class, I showed you the picture and I told you that after Indus Valley, you get to see huge modernity and huge buildings only there. And the reason why you see such modern things is because this is the period of second urbanization. Iron tools and weapons in Eastern India allowed for the expansion of agriculture, clearing forest. Cities like Rajagriha, Ujjaini, Varanasi became major trading and urban centers. Second, urbanization. And the republics, the Sangha, all came in. Even they had elected councils and voting procedures. But an early experiment in, the collective governance was during those time. You can actually have an idea on that. And before we go, maybe let's have an idea. A lot of people believe that they confuse with Magadha Empire and Mauryan Empire. So understand, we are in the Mahajanapada period. There are three dynasties here. One is the Haryanka dynasty. Next is the Shishunaga dynasty. You should remember the Shishunaga. And the next one is the Nanda dynasty. And only after the Nandas, you have the Mauryas coming in. Only after the Nandas, the Mauryas started to come in. So please understand, Haryanka dynasty, there are very famous rulers like Bimbisara, the most popular ruler, the Bimbisara, Ajatashatru, all these are Magadhan kings, but they are Haryanka dynasty. Shishunaga, the most popular Shishunaga king is Shishunaga himself. And after that, the most popular one being the Kal Ashok. It is not our Ashoka, it is Kal Ashoka. Nanda, the most popular ruler, is Mahapadmananda, the legendary ruler. He was not a king, he was an emperor. Mahapadmananda. Nandas were a huge power, huge army. And the last ruler, Dhanananda, was overthrown by the Chandragupta Maurya, and he overthrew Dhanananda and he got a big kingdom that he renamed his kingdom. Magadhan Empire became Mauryan Empire, but the Mauryan Empire was based in Magadha. It was based in Magadha. That is how you understand the whole equation. Okay, it was based in Magadha. So this is the general thing that you should know about the story. Okay, so get back to the important facts. I hope the story is clear. So let's see Haryanka dynasty the first, 544 to 403 BC. Bimbisara, the founder of Haryanka dynasty, expanded Magadha through conquest, etc. Matrimonial line. He conquered Anga, appointed his son Ajatashatru as his governor. He patronized both Jainism and Buddhism, engaging with Mahavira and Gautam Buddha. So Bimbisara had equal reverence to Mahavira as well as Gautam Buddha. So that is something that we already noted. And the next one is moving on to the next is the Shishunaga dynasty. You'll get to see Ajatashatru. We'll have to see Ajatashatru. Ajatashatru, his son, Bimbisara's son, ascended throne after imprisoning his father. Just like Shah Jahan, Aurangzeb imprisoned Shah Jahan, he also imprisoned his father. Expanded Magadha by annexing neighboring kingdoms like Kosala, Vajji. He constructed forts and introduced war engines like catapults. Convened the first Buddhist council in Rajgriha after Buddha's death. And next ruler is Udayan. He shifted the capital from Rajagriha to Pataliputra. So Pataliputra is the modern Patna. So that is how Patna was the most important thing that you should know. And moving on. So next is the Shishunaga dynasty. And know one thing. When you say the whole of India, you see the whole of Indian subcontinent was huge back then. It also included parts of Afghanistan and Pakistan. And you see the whole of India and ancient India was completely controlled from Eastern India. Just imagine, from this point, the whole Indian subcontinent was controlled in the ancient times. The Guptas, everybody controlled from the Eastern India, this point. And unfortunately, in the medieval time, this power center slowly shifted to Delhi. It got shifted to Delhi and Pakistan or Peshawar. And from modern times, you can still see in the top, India is still controlled by Delhi. So this is how the power center shifted. And what is the plight of this area? Once the biggest, the most a place which was known for development, and unfortunately in the modern times, Bihar and the eastern parts is still catching up with the development. So when you imagine, it was the world center, everybody looked up to this place. But now, unfortunately, for many reasons, the states are underperforming and the states is really coming up. So this is something that you should be really aware about. So know about the Shishunaga dynasty. Shishunaga means it starts with Shishunaga. He overthrew the last Haryanka ruler, defeated the Avantika and got the power. And the most important one is the Kal Ashok, who is also known by the name Kakavarna. He is the son of Shishunaga. He convened the second Buddhist council. We already discussed it. It is in Vaishali. And the previous one is Rajagriha. he shifted the capital permanently to Pataliputra. From Rajagriha, it permanently shifted to Pataliputra, and he divided the kings among his sons, leading to internal conflict. So definitely know about Kala Ashoka. And the last ruler being the not the last one, the most popular, Mahapadmananda, 345 to 321 BC. Because 321 BC, we can see Chandragupta Maurya coming into the picture. And 326 BC is also very, very important in history. Why? Because Alexander the great Alexander the Great invaded India. 326 is very important. So he is the founder of Nanda dynasty, considered the first non-Kshatriya ruler of Magadha. So this is breaking all the conventions of casteism, expanded the empire extensively, earning the title Destroyer of all Kshatriyas. That is a title taken by Mahapadmananda, Destroyer of Kshatriyas. So known for his opulence and heavy taxation, he was the last ruler, Dhanananda, overthrown by Chandragupta and Chanakya. Hence, the Mauryan dynasty is coming in. So before you, that is the political history, but I would love to give you a small idea about Mahapadmananda, the great, because Mahapadmananda, Nandas were a great power because they even fought the Greeks, they even fought the Greek people. And you know, this is the reason why we should remember Mahapadmananda's Greek campaigns and all. They had a great army, a big standing army. Was a son of last Shishunaga king, Mahanandin, and a Shudra women. That is why he was the son of a Shudra woman and a last Shishunaga king. So this non-Kshatriya lineage marked as a significant departure. And even people say that even Chandragupta Maurya, they say Maurya is actually, he is also from a lower caste. That is why there is so many inscription which say that he might be from a non-Kshatriya background. So that is important to be noted. And moving on to the next important content is Mahapadmananda. We need to learn really the important concepts, and let's get back. And he is believed to have, Mahapadmananda is believed to have usurped the throne, eliminating his royal rivals, his half brothers, thereby establishing them. Okay, these are all important things. Mahapadmananda earned the title Ekarath, sole sovereign, and he refers to destroyer of Kshatriyas. All these points you can remember. He is also known by the name Ekarath. Ekarath, he is alone, sole sovereign. So Mahapadmananda took this title. Remember this in the examination. You can remember this, Ekarath. And moving on, you can actually go in and find out what are the next important content. 1 second, let me just check my remote. Okay, so I think there is a small stuck here. There is a small stuck, so just hold on for a second. I'll do one thing. Let me exit it once again. So give me 1 second. Do not please hold the remote, and so we'll do one thing. We'll actually I'll do it manually. One second. Okay, so I'll move it I'll move it manually. So next is the military strength, and you need to know the military strength and take an idea about the military strength here. Mahapadmananda, the founder of, is crafted with one of the largest standing army, is the most important thing that you should remember. He had the largest standing army. So that standing army is the most important thing that you should remember here. And estimated military composition. Now it's fine, it's working. Okay, he had almost 2 lakh infantry, foot soldiers, 20,000 cavalry, 2,000 war chariots, and 3,000 to 6,000 elephants. Just imagine. This massive and well-equipped army contributed to the Nandan Empire's success. Just imagine what an army that he had. The cavalry, war chariots, elephants, it's all unmatched during this time. It created a formidable defense system during that time. It discouraged Alexander the Great from advancing further east beyond the Bias River. So definitely, when you look at the the Indian subcontinent during this time. The people were coming through this region. People were entering India from Greece. So what happens is, even Alexander feared Nanda's army because it had a huge army. Alexander very well knew that he would have to counter Nanda's army. So these are all important. And next, understand that we only see all these aspects. What about the Persians and Greeks who came to India? We may not know about them, but you should understand that even Persian activity in the 6th and 4th century, they were also coming here. Like the Achaemenid Empire of the Persians. The Achaemenid Empire under Cyrus the Great, he is the ruler, and later Darius, extended their control into the parts of northwestern India, especially they came to Gandhara and they came to Sindh and also the Punjab region. So the Persians also tried to advance to India. These areas were annexed and became part of the empire. So this word called satrapi province of the Achaemenid. So remember, there is something called the satrap system. This is the satrap system, which means nothing but it's a provinces. Even these places were made provinces of the Persian people. So the satrapies means they were a province of these regions. So know about this thing. So they were made the satrapies. Okay, so next slide. So we'll move on to the okay, so let's manually move it. Okay, and some of the other important activities in India. Evidence of Persian rule. How do you understand the evidence of Persian rule? You need to understand the ideas of Persian rule comes here. The Behistun inscription. The Behistun inscription from Darius mentioned Gandhara, Gadara. And the Persian control lasted for nearly 200 years until Alexander's invasion. So they were definitely ruling, and the Behistun inscription talks about this. Impact of Persian rule in India. The concept like satrapy system, taxation, all influence Indian polity. The coinage and script, introduction of Aramic language, Aramia. Aramia is the language which Jesus Christ used to talk to his people. Aramic language, Kharoshthi script in northwestern India. And the Gandhara school, and we'll deal it in the art and culture. Definitely all of this, Persia influenced all of this. And that was the Persian invasion. Now know about the Greek activities. Alexander, one of the greatest of all time, he tried to invade India. He came northwest India in 327 BC during the reign of Dhanananda and defeated King Porus at the Battle of Hydaspes in 326. So definitely you see 326, Alexander making a mark, but always understand even in 327, Alexander invaded. But only in 326 you see the Battle of Hydaspes. King Porus is nothing but Purushottam. They call Purushottam Porus, and they took control of Takshashila, Punjab and Sindh. Alexander took control of these regions. And definitely they got a big resistance from the Nanda Empire. Alexander's army mutinied at the river Bias, refusing to advance towards Magadha because they feared Nanda's army. That is why they did not come forward. So they returned via the Indus, leaving behind satraps, governors like Eudemus and Pethan. So they left all these people. They left their satrapies, the governor and the province, to people like them. So Chandragupta Maurya also has some activities which we'll discuss in the Maurya and Greeks. So these are the important things about the Greek activities in India. So now let's move on to the next important thing. What are the influence of Persians and Greeks in India? These are all questions. The administrative models like satrap system, bureaucracy, all influence Mauryan governance, laid the foundation for Indo-Greek syncretism in art, coinage and religion. They use the cavalry tactics, use of coins for army payments. Greek ambassador Megasthenes later described Indica. The Greek ambassador Megasthenes wrote Indica. It is a book written by the Greek ambassador Megasthenes, and later on we'll learn a lot of things like Seleucus Nicator, General. So Megasthenes' Indica is a fantastic book which talks about the Mauryan administration, Mauryan things. So cavalry, coins, everything, the administrative system was all inspired by the Persians and the Greek. That is why I taught this area, because I gave importance to this area. I hope this is pretty clear. So reason why I came up with this area is this. And moving on to the last main thing, let's go into the last important thing. Yes, I think I've almost completed most of this important area. And now I think we'll move on to the Mauryan period. So understand all of this thing in detail. Thank you.